Ooh, that is, yeah. Okay. So basically, what the video is this about is wire management when it comes to people. So envision a computer, and when it comes to people. Oh, okay, let's focus. Deku and the girl. She saw and she blushed when she saw the cameraman that was visiting Deku and asking him questions. And basically, he told them that he knew the cameraman, and he's telling the girl, Deku, I know that All Might chose you. The girl doesn't hear him, but she sees that the cameraman grabs Deku, takes a selfie with him. And so basically, my question with me that I'm asking with that situation is, if I saw a beautiful woman and I wanted to tell her that she was beautiful, okay, I tell my mom she's beautiful, okay, but if I were to tell my crush, my significant other, the person that I was split crush, or someone that I value and I don't want to lose them, why am I afraid to lose them or call them or tell them that I appreciate you, I thank you, you're beautiful today, you look beautiful, or just give them a hug within context, proper context. So there's that. And then obviously the biggest answer would be like, okay, Deku would say to the girl, you're beautiful, thank you. I guess specifically what I want him to say is the name, you're beautiful. Or just give her a compliment, honestly, something that's like aura. And so what would happen is he would say no, or blush, or get all excited and do his thing that he normally does when he sees her get jealous. And so basically, my question that comes to my mind is, there's a problem and there's a solution. So I'm asking myself a bunch of questions to reverse engineer, there you go, to get a solution. So the point that I want to get to is go to people and make them do something that I think would be best for them. So that's a solution. But the only way to get to a solution is to solve the problem. So the problem would be Deku doesn't want to lose her. What is loss? That's the big question to ask. Deku would answer his own Deku way, but a general, simple answer would be loss would be like money. I don't want to lose money. So the solution would be to get more money, and when I would lose money, I would still be in the same position. So I have $100, don't want to lose 100. I have 1,000, I can lose 900 and still have 100. So I'm in the same position that I started with. So it's just still positive, but bad that I lost 100. But still, I'm not in the negative. So the problem would be I lose the 100. So, I needed that 100 for whatever reason. Food, a gift for somebody. Obviously, rent is more serious, but I lost $100. So that's the problem. I lost $100. Not that I don't have money, which is another problem. It's that I lost $100. So for Deku, it would be, I could possibly make this situation awkward. So a simple thing would be just go up and say, the girl, would you please give me, would you please, let me call you or give you compliments, there you go, without any bad or without any sexual tension, there you go. And then obviously that's an awkward way to ask. So like if it comes from an innocent position, it would be more acceptable. Like there's no ulterior motives. So you go up to her, Deku would be like, please let me give you compliments. Simple as that. And then she would say, what? And then he would respond with this whole explanation. And the way that he would do it would be simple. It would be like, oh, sometimes I want to give you compliments, and I feel like I haven't asked you for permission. This is me asking for permission. Boom. So I guess when it comes to certain things that are the problem, when it comes to doing stuff, is in a relationship between Deku and Uraraka. There you go. That's her name. What would make Uraraka think of Deku as no longer Deku? And then that's where the idea comes in, like cable management, which really means is a problem and a solution isn't really a linear thing when it comes to people. With people, it's more of multiple things. And it has to be this, it has to be that, it has to be this, it has to be that. But think about wires when it comes to cable management, specifically when it comes to PC setups. Now follow me. What is it called? Keep following me or something like that? So basically, what it's supposed to be is when you cut a wire, something will break or something will turn off. Or because you cut that thing off, whatever you cut, it causes other things to cascade and to make the whole thing collapse, this whole system, which is the PC system, PC setup. Dang, I really hate that. Okay, air conditioning. So basically, the whole point of this is a person, Deku, to Uraraka is complex. She never really says that she's into him or she likes Deku in the first couple of seasons. And she's like, she blushes, she's confused, she runs away from him, she gets angry, she gets jealous when it comes to Deku being around other girls. So basically what this idea is, a person, and it represents Deku, has a lot of these little wires that need to be cable managed. So basically what this is supposed to do for people is, I need to cable manage my relationship with this person, that person, and my mom, my dad, my crush. So it'd be very simple. It's more simple when a person keeps continuously being around the same person, and then it becomes more obvious. Sort of like how people have a crush, and then they first find them attractive. Okay, so it's more simple in the way that, let's put it like this. Think of a bunch of little wires, like spaghetti, of cable management. Terrible. Looks ugly. But imagine those Instagram reels of those people managing wires for electrical boxes. And it's all these little beautiful wires, like, you know how they do the little spacing and all looks satisfying. That's the type of cable management that we need as people. Not we need. But it would be so much more better to know the answer and to keep thinking about the person. Like, this is what they do, define everything, but this does that. So, okay, there you go. There's a formula to add with this. That would be, it has to do with EQ, emotional intelligence, with value, which is simply value equals So that's what value would be. So value itself would be divided up into divided by cost of acquisition of the value of the profit. There you go, which is value. So with that in mind, the emotional intelligence regulates the external. What emotional intelligence is supposed to do is, or high emotional intelligence, emotional intelligence in general, is to regulate a person's internal, and the internal specifically, which is priority number one. When it comes to a list, it would be emotional intelligence regulates priority number one. Priority number one. Priority number one. Internal. So like the thoughts, the emotions and stuff like that for person, singular person. And then with the external, which is what they actually do. But the external itself. Is that? Okay. Emotional intelligence regulates the internal, number one, with the external, which is what the actions are done, number two. With the expectation, with Andrew Tate said it. He said practice is the space in between expectation, which is the above, with the reality. It is feedback, there you go. Feedback, which is variables. And variables itself, or it represents variables. So expectations is the physical embodiment, the forefront of variables, which what that really means is, in my mind, I think I could earn 1,000 by the end of the day. Reality is I actually earn only 300. So the variables would be time, well, that's after. But specifically what this idea of cable management, when it comes to people and the way that we view others. So my physical view, or I guess the viewer, you guys, or you, it would be okay, there you go. So when it comes to cable management, when it comes to the word, when somebody says the phrase cable management, what that really means is a person, me, and you, looking at someone like me and stating, okay, this person has this cable, this cable, this cable, this cable. Makes me angry, makes me happy, and does this, doesn't do that. So 3, 4 cables, simply just by viewing me. Now imagine that, how many cables a person has, you the viewer, has towards another person. So let's just say your crush, which is specifically what this came to my mind when it came to Deku and Uraraka. And her blushing because of another man grabbing Deku and taking a selfie. I don't know why she blushed. It really confused me, and this is why that's what really started all this. Emotional intelligence is mixed in the pot of cable management, which when it comes to a person, you, onto your crush, you have to ask yourself, this is more valuable theory. If I were to go to, let's say I'm the Deku, and I go up to you, Uraraka, how would I, Deku, present myself to you, Uraraka, asking for permission and defining something in our relationship? Basically just stating, okay, I want to give you compliments. Me, Deku, wants to give you, Uraraka, compliments. How would I do it? How would I reverse engineer? That's my thought and train of thought. So, cable management is important when it comes to computers. You can have ugly and you can have beautiful. But when something goes bad or when something gets cut off, either the monitor doesn't work, the whole thing doesn't work, or something stops working and it damages the other stuff. So an example would be with a dad or a husband with his wife. If the husband stops providing, that's one thing. Okay, I still love you because you hug me and you care for me. But now the husband, let's just say the husband stops as well. Giving words of affirmation, doing lovey-dovey stuff. Now they don't have lovey-dovey anymore. That's 2 cables cut. And you keep cutting cables until the whole system doesn't work, the PC system. That's how a person finds, like you, the viewer, are able to find and look at your crush, wherever your crush is, and state, if this person lost this, if this person lost that, then they are no longer that person. That's very, like for me, probably, to think about and to realize that the person is only 1 or 2 cables away from not being that person anymore. They have, what they could do is like, they can rob a bank. They're no longer honest, or they're no longer trustworthy. And then you instantly think as a person, this person is no longer the same person. So a mom can look at their son and be like, oh, my son's super trustworthy, and that's all they are. Imagine what would happen once that son lies to the mother. You lose something in that relationship. And the only way to gain it back is by the person, the son, reinstalling the cable. And that takes time. That cost, the physical world alone, it could take time. It takes time. You need to acquire the new cable and understand how to redo it, how to reinstall a cable. And then not only that, but then imagine how many other cables are affected. And that's the very beautiful thing with people, is that it shifts very slightly with different situations, different environments, different history with the other person. So you, the person that likes somebody else or has a crush, ask yourself an important question. That is, if I were to look at the person and cut that cable, which whatever they do, for you, the viewer, would you stop loving them? Would you stop having an interest? Or would you completely hate them? And these are 3 different things. Lose interest, hate, and I guess there's a third one somewhere in there, or a mixture. So one spectrum would be, I still love them because of this, which is, that's not the important cable to you. I hate this person, which is the most important cable to you, or it sort of lessens the person. So there's an absolutely important cable that you don't want to cut, the power supply. There is a cable that you can cut, the monitor, HDMI cord. And then there's another one that's like, it ruins the whole thing, which is the coolant. So imagine that with your person, your crush. And that's what this whole idea, like when it came in the beginning, the whole entire thought was, why did Uraraka blush when she saw Deku get pulled in by the photographer? Which literally to me, it made no sense. And then I thought, reverse engineer, how would, like, I want to give a compliment to someone as beautiful as Uraraka, if I were in Deku's shoes, me being Deku, seeing Uraraka, she's kind, she's caring, she's beautiful, and we're both in the same, like, living dorm. Like, if I was Deku, I wouldn't fumble the bag like he did in the manga. Like, why Why did they write my boy Deku like that? It's just seeing that type of stuff. Okay, whatever. It's just a side tangent. I get so whatever. That's the beginning. The second is obviously how would I reverse engineer that? Like the goal, the why would be, that's something separate as well. But the goal is to give Uraraka a compliment. Deku's too nervous. Okay, reverse engineer. Be innocent with the way you present something. Just face value, just say it. And then thinking about that, okay, how can I shift it to a second plane? So here's one plane of existence, which is linear, which is complete action. Okay, but then us being humans, you being a human, being a three-dimensional being, I have not only this, but this, and then not only that, but I can go forwards and back. So that's 3 dimensions. So one is the fulfillment of a desire. Number 2 is the depth at which you present yourself. So the emotions would be, okay. So this would be quantity. This would be the quality. And then forward and back would be the emotions and the variables. So I guess one side of the, X and Y axis, and then what axis would this be? Would be, because it has to change in its value. Not just, because think about people, this is just a side tangent, but think about people and how it's very complex to, if there's any parents watching, every child that you do have, every person you've ever met, are slightly different, and you like certain people for different reasons. Now, if there's anybody else, this is a specific thing to you. Think of your the most delicious tasting food, the most beautiful painting you've ever seen, the most beautiful sky you've ever seen, and you'll realize that each of them looked different at a different time and made you feel a different way. Some maybe smell delicious, some maybe taste amazing, and other times it may have looked absolutely beautiful and stunning. But it's like slight variations, and they all still fall in baskets or underneath umbrellas and stuff, and get categorized in their own specific thing. So that's one thing for you person, the viewer, you guys, or you, whoever's you is, whoever is his uses. Okay, there you go. So, and then obviously, step 3 of this entire thing, which is to reiterate. Number 1, why did Uraraka blush? Which is still very confusing. Number 2, how would Deku reverse engineer his way to asking Uraraka to give a compliment because Uraraka is beautiful? And number 3 is the realization and the answer to that, or I guess a side, because to get an answer, you also get more questions and more realization. There you go. You're able to see more. There you go, and understand more and compute more. Everything becomes more simple. So 1, number 2, and number 3. Number 3 itself, it produced 2 different things: a branch or a split, a fork in the road. There you go. So one of the things was the actual answer itself. Present the question with innocence, with a sense of no ulterior motives. So there you go. There's no real foreplay to a specific outcome. So Deku could ask it in an instance like, oh, we just want to continue being friends. Uraraka can interpret it as we just want to be friends. But in a different world, in a different reality, like specifically towards like me thinking about it, or my name is Emmanuel thinking about it, is there's still some tension. There you go. Because Uraraka blushed and Deku blushes. So 2 people that blush that never really physically, verbally, like give a straight answer. I'm not blushing, or I am blushing. They just like play around. So, what's the thing called? Leaves ambiguity. There you go. And then the other part or piece to the step number 3 is the realization or the reveal of cable management, emotional cable management, emotional cable management, which is step number 3. And then I guess the side tangent would be the x and y axis. So the x, y axis. X would be sheer quantity of stuff. Y axis would be the depth at which things are. So I guess it could be like emotions. Oh, interesting. I guess a physical representation would be I guess I can show photos. When it comes to x-axis, it would be how many times a person practices, so repetitions, so over and over and over and over. So acquisition of numbers, there you go, numbers, this is numbers. When it comes to human world, this is numbers. This is sort of like a black hole, so sheer mass. How many thoughts of the same exact thing, not variations, but repetition and copies, there you go. Sheer amount of copies and how dense they are or mass it has. So it would be kind of like a black hole. The more dense a star is, the more dense a black hole is, the more the space fabric is pulled towards that reality. So it's sort of like the more motion a specific item has, the more it pulls in other items. So that would be a physical representation of the y-axis. And then the third axis that a person or humans, you, a human, goes into the third axis would be a variation in variables. And then obviously the membrane in between all of these is that there has to be a verses. Was it a point where everything meets in the middle? There you go. There's a purity in one of those things. And there's a point in which all these different things congruent or meet in the middle, which is very interesting. In a square, what is the most of a square? So this is just a question for you guys, and you guys can just review. Within x-axis and a y-axis, there's 0 or 0, 0, and then in parentheses. That's simple. That's a 2-dimension plane of existence. For us humans, how would it be 3 dimensions if now there's a bunch of little places that everything meets? Wow, that's kind of interesting. Because if you graph everything, there is a point, there are different points that people can put. So like there would be, how would you see it? There would be one, and that's a point on a graph. But then there's still a 0 though. So then if you were to do 3 dimensions, so forward and back, what is absolutely 0 when it comes to humans? Because there's so many different points in a 3-dimensional world. So if physical representation be the debating, a real thing that humans stand on is the ground. But that doesn't mean that somebody else does not exist because they don't step exactly where you are stepping. So I guess the question would be, where is absolute zero when it comes to us humans? So if forward and back would be, let's just say, forward and back is variables. So x-axis would be repetition. Y-axis would be density. And then whatever the z-axis, z-axis, I don't know what the other axis is, or this one would be considered. It would be variables. Repetition, density, variables. So that's what humans are. Repetition of humans, the density of humans, and the variable of humans. And that's how you define every single third dimensional thing in the entire world. Obviously, us as humans, well, it's not. Humans can see things only in 2 dimensions. We have 2 eyes, and our brain builds an image that's 3-dimensional, but with 2 different, like, close your eye and you can't tell depth anymore, which is the test for you, viewer, you. It's just, I guess that's step 4 is, what is step 4? There you go. And I thought this idea was very amazing. Like, the only reason why I'm doing this is absolutely credit towards Togi. His idea is, whenever you're about to go to sleep, whenever you're in a shower, when he was in a shower, or useful thoughts, there you go. He was on a podcast, he got made fun of, and basically his idea, or his phrasing, if I were to rephrase it, or Emmanuel were to rephrase it, when you're about to fall asleep, you come up with the best ideas, you open your phone, or he opens his phone, there you go, and put in the idea that he had. So that's how he has useful thoughts, is shower thoughts and the thoughts you have before you wake up. So those are the most, like, dense. And I was laying down with music playing, so repetition, my brain gets accustomed to it, so there's adaptation. And so it's basically, with or without music, that song that I was playing, it's the same thing as just being by myself and just having my own thoughts. So that's where this idea came from, and that's why this video was created, because of Togi. So shout out Togi, Togi, tell me to say Togi. And also, obviously, credit to, what is it, feedback, the word feedback, credit to Entertain. He was doing an interview about practice, people practicing without feedback is pointless, useless, and that's where the whole, I took that, and I gained the idea of, the new idea, or realization, no, my idea, that's why I do this, it's not really my idea, it's the and this is the reason I'm saying it, reiterating it, is because of Newton, or it can't be Newton, Nikola Tesla, one of those scientist people. Please, if any of you, or you, if you can comment down below who said this in an interview. One of these big science people. Basically, ideas are not really originated in the person. It is a rediscovery that already exists in the world. And I guess the only reason why I'm saying that out loud is because it really does make sense. Like imagine reading the Word of God, you viewer, reading the Bible, and seeing in the Scripture it saying along these lines, paraphrasing, that there's nothing new underneath the sun. Somewhere in the Bible, it might say that. I don't know, but one of you, or you may know. So, with Nikola Tesla stating, ideas are really just a rediscovery of what already does exist. So, it connects with the Bible, or I guess that would connect with the Bible, bringing it back to Measure Tate, stating feedback or practice without feedback is trash. So you can practice all you want, but it means nothing if a person does not have feedback. That's what his idea is, or his words were in a video that I saw either on some social media platform. And obviously Togi stating that it's important to have your apps, note app open to write out the idea that pops into your mind. So obviously my idea was started with why did Uraraka blush? I didn't understand that at all. I didn't see the vision, but maybe in the manga it makes it more clear. And then obviously step 2 of that thing is the answer would be say things with innocence. And the fork in the road, which is step number 3, is cable management. The formula that goes with that involves emotional intelligence, and I guess the start of or the confusion would be 3, 2, and 4. Step number 2, step number 3, and step number 4 is confusion, which is there you go. I guess step number 4 would be there's probably more forks, or what's it called? There's 3, so you can draw a line and it go like this. Oh, family tree. There you go. The family tree of this idea would be, I guess, the 4th generation of this idea. Dude, that's such a tough concept. Dude, you saw that? Did you see my face when I did that? That was so tough. So let's just say the idea, family tree of ideas. Oh my god, sorry, bro. I'm actually gonna hurt. I got way too excited, bro. That's the toughest thing in the world. Oh my gosh, family tree of an idea. With my Nobel Prize. So basically, what that means is there's the original. Let's just say Adam. The Adam, and then the sibling, his sons, and then obviously Adam has a wife. So it has to come with something. Maybe the person and the realization, and then it goes down in the family tree. So 4th generation of the idea has to be the start of, or the continuation of. That's such a tough concept. Come on now. Emotional. Let's just say crush cable management ideas, which is my brain baby. There you go. And then generation 4 of my brain baby would be, which you just saw right now, is my family tree of ideas. There you go. And how there's generations. Did you see what I just did there? That's a physical representation. An eye. Emmanuel, which is not really my idea. It's just I observed it. My brain baby. There you go. That's the y-axis in play. The density of an idea. Yeah. So think about that. Think about icebergs. And that's where that came from too as well. And then that's where icebergs. Somebody, I don't know who started that trend, or like the iceberg of FNAF lore, the iceberg of creepy animals. Oh, there you go. I saw it. Some dude posting a video. That is important, but not vital to the conversation. So when it comes to the iceberg, it's vertical. But imagine, like, how do we turn that into, boom, variables? There you go. Now let's change it, the iceberg, to iceberg. What about, how would you do it? Oh, there, a map pack, game theory. He says something like, he's like connecting stuff to another stuff. There you go, whatever. That's just aside the point. I'm thinking out loud. Business, oil companies. We can go from the acquisition of the oil, transportation of the oil, delivery of the oil, acquisition, delivery, selling. So 1, 2, 3. That's the vertical thing of business. And then the horizontal would be how many of iterations. There you go. That's the other part of the idea when it comes to generation 3 of the idea. Generation 3 of the idea. Why did Uraraka blush? This is perfect. And shout out to Patrick B. Davis. Both is thinking like a big brain. And this is all coming back to that. Shout out whiteboards. They're tough. The physical representation. Shout out visual learners. This is a big mess, but it's beautiful. It's my brain, maybe. So basically, if there's this many stores, 1 store, 2 store, 3 store, that's x-axis. Y-axis would be the sheer density of 1 store or chain. So it's basically acquisition, level 1, delivery, so transportation, level 2, and then the selling of the oil, number 3. So there's all of that. And shout out US history, Mr. Stare. Bro taught that to me, and for some reason it's coming out right now. So generation 3 of why did Uraraka blush? I love that idea. I love my brain, baby. So that's generation 4, which is brain baby. Shout out Togi, bro. I really like that he said to do this. That's the only reason why I remember that. I only remember him because he gambles. So shout out gambling. Don't. Just don't. Unless you have a lot of money. Dude, shout out Togi. Oh, Steve will do it? Come on now. Alright, that's the only time I watched that. His videos. Is because of Togi. Togster. My big... whatever. That was weird. So, generation 4 of why did Uraraka blush is family tree of ideas. There you go. Whole circle. So, the first generation is my person, Emmanuel, thinking about why did Uraraka blush. Generation 2 is the answer, or is an answer, how to, or question and answer. Interesting. So that would be generation 3. So basically, how would I give a compliment? And obviously these, I really want to. I do. Yeah, I'm gonna just post this raw.